You told me Georgia cannot compete in 2025. I said you're foolish and stupid. Next, Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. He is Clint. I am Daniel, professional podcast hosts here at your service. Happy Friday to you. It's another week that's come and gone, another week closer to the 2025 college football season. Labor Day weekend is almost here. It's a mere couple months away. That's it. Are they the hottest, most miserable months of the year? Yeah, they are. But let's not think about that yet. Thanks for being an everydayer. Thanks for being a first listener, for making us your very first listen of the day. Thanks for being a part of the 199, a loyal third segment listener. And thanks for sending us your questions, your ideas for things that you want us to talk about on this show. Happy to have you along. I've got some questions for Clint. I'm going to play a little game with some stats. We're going to go a little over under here on some stats.
Let's see what word.
First, I want to shout out my man Francis Busso. I don't know. He sends us an email referencing a time, and Clint, I need your help here. Referencing a time when we talked about traveling to a football game via steamboat. Do you recall this?
I do recall this. Yes, I do recall this. Yep.
He wants to know where you parked your steamboat because he's traveling all the way from North Georgia and doesn't want to steam all the way down there just to get screwed on parking. So,
Francis.
You're
the reason why we do this podcast, Francis. I hope you know. For fans, by fans.
Shout out to you. All right, let's jump in to some statistics.
Okay.
We have mentioned often Georgia's relative struggles in certain areas statistically last year, but I want to put on some honesty here. Like I don't know if you have an honesty hat that you wear or an honesty robe that you there she is. Okay, so let's turn on the honesty.
Okay.
And let's ask ourselves legitimately, is Georgia really going to do better than that in 2025? Can we really expect a better outcome, a better output from Georgia in this particular statistical category in 2025 than we can in 2024? It's a simple over-under game. I'm going to give you last year's numbers. You're going to give me over or under, and you're going to tell me why. We're going to start on the offensive side of the ball, Clint. Last year, Georgia finished 37th nationally, averaging 30.2 points per game. 30.2 points per game in 2024. Is the 2025 offense going to do better or worse than that?
Daniel, as I answer this question, I need to self-regulate something I said earlier this offseason.
Okay.
So my honesty.
Were we printing a retraction? Because I was told we didn't do that.
We don't do that anymore. Okay. But I'm keeping myself accountable. Can you give me the 25th best scoring offense last year? Points per game, 25th.
You keep talking and I'll get it.
That's what I mean. So here's why I asked that, listener. Here's why I'm bringing that up. I've talked about how Georgia, to be considered elite, for us to get to where we want to go, not just the SEC championship, long playoff run into a national championship, the defense is always going to be, in my assessment, a top 5 defense. As Kirby Smart is here, the talent is here, and Georgia still wears red and black. I think that's going to be the case, always is the case, always will be the case. The offense, however, go ahead.
25th scoring offense was TCU, who averaged 33.5 points per game. Again, Georgia 38th at just over 30 points per game.
I have integrity, Daniel. This is great news for what I was going to say.
Okay.
I was going to say Georgia has to be in the top 25 offensively to be considered an elite
scoring.
Team. In terms of scoring. Yes.
Okay.
That's what I said earlier this offseason. I'm going to stick with that because I think the offense last year, by the way, if you look at yards and you look at what Carson Beck put up, you might not like to hear this, but he had insane amount of yards compared to the rest of the SEC, the rest of college football. He had a lot of interceptions, had a lot of drop passes. It would have been astronomical had their catches been there. The running game really, really screwed us in a lot of capacity, but we carried a dead carcass on our rear end a lot of the year with the offense. So for us to get 30 points per game is quite remarkable. I think this year we have questions at quarterback. Gunnar Stockton's not even a top 10 SEC quarterback, according to people. Wide receiver group, totally new. Offensive line, totally new. Running backs, totally new, essentially. And I'm going to sit here and say, sincerely, I think we get into 34. I was going to put 34 points per game is what I anticipate the average points being for Mike Bobo's offense with Gunnar Stockton, with a very talented offensive line, very untested, but very talented, and a very tested and talented wide receiver group. That I know for certain. We have gobs of reps and gobs of talent over there. And I think our running back room has talent as well, up and down, all the way throughout, and a freshman who's making noise. So 34 points is what I anticipate. I anticipate us being better and in the top 25 this next coming year, which means we will be elite. Yes, Daniel.
All right, let me shift gears here. Quarterback sack percentage in terms of sacks allowed.
Okay.
Georgia was 37th nationally last year, allowing quarterback sacks on 4.8% of our plays. So I don't know if that's actually 4.8% of dropbacks or 4.8% of plays run. Probably dropbacks. Either way, questions about the offensive line. Obviously, Georgia's going to have 4 new starters on the offensive line this year. And the one starter that's returning got replaced halfway through the season by a different guy. So Georgia loses, obviously, all 3 guys on the interior, plus Xavier Truss on the right side. Questions abound on the offensive line.
Yeah.
So that sack percentage, 37th nationally, not elite, but certainly not awful like our rushing yards per game. Is Georgia going to be higher or lower than 4.8% sacks?
This is the higher. I'd be willing to bet a large sum of money on this. Here's the reason why. One, his name's Gunnar Stockton. And if
you think Georgia's going to perform better, to be clear. When you say higher, you think
I apologize. Our ranking
better.
will go higher. Our percentage of sacks will decrease, meaning your performance is higher. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Offensive line played pretty poor last year. That's putting it mildly. Rotation at injury. Playing poor, especially at the tackle positions. I think tackle play increases this year. If not, my gosh, we have so many more problems at stake. Like we are at a Braves level jump off the ship. That's what I'm talking about.
It's 2 episodes in a row you mentioned the Braves.
I'm hurt. She
3 strikes
purple.
And you're out.
She wore purple. Her name is Spencer Strider.
If Ronald Acuna wears purple, Clint's triggered. He's triggered forever.
We have Gunnar Stockton, who I think is a quicker processor than Carson Beck. Yep, I said it. I really do think he has a better understanding of the offense. He's a better trigger man, and I think he can get out of escape situations far better than Carson Beck can. I think the offensive line play is better. I'm anticipating 3 point, like somewhere south of 4% for us on our dropbacks, Daniel. Yes.
Okay.
Insane improvement.
I love it. All right, I got more of these for Clint, and we'll get to them right after this.
This is FanDuel. Hey, guess what? You like these sort of prop bets over under? Daniel and I do. We think about it all the time. As a matter of fact, I am probably 4 weeks away from getting a nice little sheet coming my way in which I get to prove just how much I know about football and how little he does because I beat him in the bet every
This is the
year. This is the year. Daniel says he's like a Florida fan. This is the year.
This is the
FanDuel is
year.
the
Me
place
and
you
Brandon are going to take it down this year.
FanDuel is a place you can go over under win totals, point totals for NBA finals, as well as all the sports action you can get. Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On Bulldogs, Locked On Podcasts, everywhere. FanDuel.com. Right now, you make a $5 bet. It cashes. You get $200 in bonus bets coming straight back to your account. $5 winning bet gets you $200 in bonus bets. For those of you who sign up as first-time users, FanDuel.com, the official sportsbook of Locked On Bulldogs, Locked On Podcasts, everywhere.
Suffered a minor earthquake during the
Dan.
ad read, but we made it through. Don't you worry about
One of
us.
us grew up in California. One did not. One knows
We are
what a
doing
tectonic
fine.
plate is. One does not.
Let's move to the defensive side of the ball. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Hey, it's not going to be so easy for you, Clint. I'm picking and choosing here. I'm hunting and pecking, and I'm going to find some that I think are interesting. Georgia last year excelled in some certain defensive categories that I think were critical to our success as a team. I'm not sure if you remember this, but we won the SEC last year. We were the number 2 overall seed in the college football playoff. I know the season feels like an abysmal failure, but some teams, when they have an abysmal failure of a season, they miss the playoff, even though there's a billion teams in it now.
Out of a daylight bowl.
Yeah.
You played a bowl game in the middle of the day and you got ran out of the stadium.
Correct. But we're not like you, so we don't understand that.
Nope.
Third down conversion percentage, opponent's third down conversion percentage. Georgia last year clamped down when it mattered the most. They were 12th nationally, holding opponents to only 32.9% of third down conversion percentage. So when opponents had a third down opportunity, Georgia got off the field 77% of the time, or 67% of the time, rather. Is Georgia going to perform better or worse in your mind in that specific category this year on defense?
This, to me, it's not easy. My heart says the defense is going to be elite. It's going to progress. Our defense saved our tail a number of times last year, everybody. Like, I don't think you understand the composition of this team was so odd last year. To be where we were, to have the success that we did, and to be so dependent on a couple of things, the defense, including Jalen Walker, it's remarkable. And so for me, I want to say we're going to be better because the defense of the soft underbelly struggled at times. However, this is really close for me, Daniel. I could see us getting more pressures this year, even losing Michael and Jalen. I could see that being the case. Or I could see us dropping off drastically and not being able to do anything on that side of the ball defensively, pressuring and getting to the quarterback. It's a really wild situation over there. I could also see us having a number of times in which the back end of the passing game really, really gets going home, as well as safety play. So I want to say our defense is going to be elite, better than last year. I want to say top 3, top 4, top 5. This one can go either way. If I'm going with my heart says we'll be better on third down. But my head is telling me we're losing defensive depth on the defensive line and performance. And that's what getting off the field on third down is all about. Chaos and disruption, stopping short yardage run, and getting to the quarterback in passing downs and passing distances. And so if I had my head saying will be less than, my heart saying will be better than, man, we're going to be top 10. I say top 10 is where I'm at, and I'm going to stick with that, Daniel. I'm going top 10 with it. But it is interesting to me because our linebackers will be better. Our Linebackers are going to be constantly better. Our cornerbacks are going to be better. And so top 10, better, Daniel.
Better.
Yeah.
He says.
I finally, my heart won out over my head.
Listen, I tried to throw you one that you were going to go worse.
Yeah, I was close to it.
How about you mentioned the outside backers and the question marks there, right? You mentioned that on the last episode.
Yeah.
What about sack percentage? Georgia 33rd nationally last year, 7.5% sack percentage. Is Georgia going to be able to get after the quarterback more effectively this year? Michael Williams gone. They did lose some critical pieces up front. There are some question marks on the edge, particularly.
Yes.
Had an outside linebacker transfer, notably.
That was bizarre.
Sack percentage, 7.5%, 33rd nationally. Is it going up or is it going down?
Look, I don't know how I can in good conscience say it's going to go up. I mean, just based upon evidence in front of me. We can talk about the potential of freshmen, of young guys coming in. We could talk about having a couple guys on the edge transfer coming in and saying, hey, Mendoza is going to be freaking out of this world coming in from Army. Maybe, but maybe. I haven't seen it yet. And so I do know that we lost 2 top 15 draft picks that were responsible for getting after the quarterback. They're gone. We lost a lot of other reps on the inside. Jordan comes back and he's got injuries hopefully behind him and ready to go. We got a bunch of young cats and Kristen Miller, as well as transfers. I don't see us replacing Michael and Jalen with the people as I know them today, Daniel. Midseason could change, but as I know them today, I think we're going to be less in that category, and that pains me to say.
Justin Williams, Clint. His name is Justin Williams, and we will be fine.
It's called the A gap, and when you sprint at it, it'll blast.
Ask Dabo Sweeney what happens when Nakobe Dean blitzes the A gap. Ask DJ Uyunglele what happens.
He doesn't understand the footballing right now. Okay.
No, he has been broken severely. All right. We've got more. Clint's got some questions he's gonna throw at me right after this.
It's the third segment. We're here. The loyal listeners are here. So, Daniel, what can fix the Braves? What can fix the No, we're not. Sorry.
I'll tell you what can fix the Braves.
Yeah.
If Michael Smith, M-dubs himself, the Sherpa, comes on this podcast and renounces the Braves publicly,
here we go.
I believe that the tide will turn.
Okay. We're texting M-dubs right now.
Tell him to listen to the third segment on Friday. And
all right. Here's the deal. Here's the question I have for you, Daniel. Okay. We talked about offensive statistics gaining success. We both think that the offense, especially particularly running the ball, is going to be a huge improvement. We think the defense is elite because of our linebackers. I think that is going to win the day. Chris Cole, Justin Williams. My gosh, just sit back and enjoy those two as much.
Neither are starters. They are the two most exciting players on the roster, period, regardless of position.
I can guarantee you, I've said this, as the summer goes on, it's only the needle's pointed up.
Temperatures are going to rise in more ways than one.
I'm going to say ludicrous statements about Justin Williams. Everybody, like some questions will be made about me. That's okay. That's all I'm going to say. I've been questioned many times.
Yeah, many times.
All right. Here's the question I have for you, Daniel.
Okay.
We look at this team. We talk about the offense. We talk about the defense. We talk about the statistical category getting better. I ask you point blank, in your heart of hearts, in your soul, does Mike Bobo last 2 more years as offensive coordinator at UGA?
Yes.
That was a
I
quick.
think.
That was a quick response.
Do you want me to? I'm gonna go.
But he's going to double down. He's about to double down so hard.
You baited me to give you just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go into the paint as hard as I possibly can.
I know what he's going to say. I'm going to write this down and see if I can guess what
Mike Bobo's going to outlast Kirby Smart at UGA. Mike Bobo will be coaching at Georgia longer than Kirby Smart will be. I think the offense is going to continue to improve. I think the offense this year is going to be leaps and bounds better than it was last year. I think the offense next year is going to be miles better than the offense this year. I think the offense is only going to continue to get better. And I think Mike Bobo's position at Georgia is only going to continue to be solidified. I think he's happy where he is.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be looking for other head coaching jobs, even though I think the success of Georgia's offense is going to warrant other smaller programs are going to come calling. Now, I don't think SEC programs are going to offer Mike Bobo a job, but I do think he's going to get plenty of job offers from smaller schools, but I don't think he's interested in going anywhere. I think Mike Bobo is going to be around for the long haul, and I think that's going to be because of the success at Georgia. Here's what I don't think, Clint. I don't think Kirby Smart is going to keep him around because he's his friend. That I do not think is going to happen. This has been said before. It's been said by us before. It's been said by others before, but it can't be undersold. I think John said this last week. It can't be undersold how much Kirby Smart wants to win, how much he loves winning. He loves winning more than you love anything. That is empirically true. The evidence will support my hypothesis.
The man's father passed away, and he was coaching the very next day.
He loves winning more than anything. He knows that his time in college football is limited. He knows that.
That's right.
He wants to cement a legacy. He wants to cement a dynasty. He wants to get out of the shadow of his mentor, Nick Saban. Like, Kirby Smart's got some goals, and he's not going to sit around and let Mike Bobo ruin them as much as you might fear that he's going to do that. So when I say Mike Bobo is going to be around for longer than Kirby Smart, that means Georgia's offense is going to be good. They're going to get better. They're going to continue to improve. He's going to continue to recruit out of his mind, which, by the way, how good is Mike Bobo recruiting? Let's just take the quarterback position, for example.
Let's go down that list.
How good is he recruiting? Number one quarterback in the country, committed to Georgia.
Check.
Before that, Dylan Raiola, the number one quarterback in the country, committed to Georgia. It took a massive bag.
Yep.
Dropped at the very last minute to get him to flip to Nebraska. 5-star Gunnar Stockton. 5-star Brock Vandagriff. Like, how good is Mike Bobo recruiting the quarterback position? And oh, by the way, are the wide receivers following? Oh, by the way, are the skill position players following?
See what happened there.
See, it's all like he is. You may not like him, and you may not like the scheme and the way that he calls plays, but he is the head of this offense that just look at it. Just look at the way that it is ascending right now. And I think you're going to see it pay off on the field this year.
Statistically, I'm asking people to just empirically look at data points. The Georgia offense is elite at the biggest metrics. Last year's not elite offense, you're right. Because Carson Beck had more interceptions than he did have number of times his girlfriend left him, which
70th in the country in percentage of interceptions thrown. 70th in the nation.
So we had a liability, and you want to say, well, the quarterbacks that have left, Raiola. Okay, what has he done at Nebraska? Nah, yet to be seen. Fields, from, if you want to use that because he was around and it was a Monken and knew Bobo was coming. Okay, great. What is Fields? No. What about Carson Beck? No, like miss me on that. He's ran out the bad ones. He's brought in the good ones, and he's done well with them, like unequivocally, 100%. It's remarkable to me. Just if you look at the stats, not your feelings. Football doesn't care about your feelings.
But my feelings are so important.
Well, we care about our feelings, and your feelings are important. But offensive success doesn't care about that. And Mike Bobo is, and I think I was gonna, what I thought you were gonna say was Mike Bobo will be offensive coordinator for as long as Kirby Smart is head coach. And I think you're right. There's a chance it's better because Mike Bobo's got a great system going. He's got a great thing going. He is recruiting at a high level. Guys are coming in. The success on that side of the ball, X's and O's and game planning is there. We saw him deep in his bag a number of times. And when we saw things get sideways, it's got sideways because of liability on the offensive side, because he couldn't trust people to catch the ball, couldn't trust the offensive line to make a first down on 3rd and short, and he couldn't trust Carson Beck to make decisions to save his life. But you tell me what offensive coordinator would have done well with that, except for benching him, getting a new interior offensive line, and not having injuries at running back and having wide receivers that could catch. Like,
here's the thing nobody is saying that I would actually listen to. If I'm telling you how to do your job.
Then follow his advice. Go ahead. Make some money.
If you want to make an argument to me about why Bobo is a liability and you want me to listen, here's what I want you to say. He didn't bench Carson Beck in favor of Gunnar Stockton. That is a valid point.
I'll listen to you.
Anything else that I'm hearing people say, no one's saying that. That to me is either Mike Bobo made a really bad decision, or Josh Pate is right about his quarterback rankings for the SEC this year, because
both can't be true.
If that boy is not really better than what we saw from Carson Beck last year,
dude, boy,
come on now.
Puglisi, get that shoulder up and warm, my friend. That's all I'm
loosening
go. He is Daniel. I'm Clint. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. We'll see you guys next week talking more about them Bulldogs. 2025 is nearly here for the season. We'll see you guys then.
See ya.